February 12, 2017, the first worst day for the next 2 years. Oh my gosh, already? Since February 2017, I've lost, no, go back. I didn't read, sorry. Since February 2017, I've lost 10 friends to suicide. The most recent passing being only just a few days ago. Every death has been more painful than the one before, but one in particular stuck with me. November 21st, 2017, I got a message from one of my closest friends. She told me she was hurting, so I called and talked for hours on the phone. She cried and I did my best to keep her head straight. Now being 1:30ish the next morning, she told me she was okay and she wanted to get some rest for rugby trials the next day. She wasn't okay, and I knew she wasn't. But I said goodbye and said, I love you, see you at trials, my love. I shouldn't have hung up. I should have listened to my gut feeling. 7:45 a.m. I received a call from her sister. Beneath the sob, all I could get from it was, I'm sorry, our princess is gone. Those words tore my heart right out of my chest because she promised me she was okay. The last 2 years has been the worst for me mentally and emotionally. After the fourth death of a friend by suicide, I was clinically diagnosed with depression and anxiety and was on high suicide watch by the mental health board for the next month, until I couldn't handle the hourly checkup calls. I just wanted to be alone. But that's when the thoughts crept in and started playing with my head. That's when I began to believe that I wasn't worth the stress, I wasn't worth anything, and I believed I didn't belong here. I began to harm myself. Sometimes it was cutting my skin, and sometimes it was taking a few extra pain relief than I should have been. And some nights it was crying myself to sleep, begging God to not wake me up the next morning. Some weeks I'd starve myself because I felt it wasn't fair for me to eat if my friends could no longer. I began to lose hope in all that I did. I wanted to die, but because of my family and friends, I held on to whatever hope I could find. Because how could I put my friends through that hurt again, and how could I make my family suffer without me? For me, suicide has been what's ruined my life completely, but it's not their fault. I don't blame them. All my life I've struggled to find where I belong and what my purpose is, but in the last 2 years, the battle has been between life or death. Oh, that was fob. Between life or death. I have scars from times I thought I could give it all up, from nights I thought the only option was to give up. Living with depression and anxiety isn't completely black and white. Some days it's bad and you have no motivation to get out of bed, to pick your phone up, to even open your eyes, and other days it was having more energy than needed, having a sudden spark for life. The only thing keeping me grounded all my life and up to today has been sport and dance. I found they were the only way to express or relieve the anger or any feeling. One day I got a message after putting up a post for people if they were hurting to please talk to me. I couldn't let someone else feel alone as I did. I put my feelings and hurt aside to help these people, some I didn't even know. I didn't care for my happiness because as long as everyone else was fine and alive, I was happy enough. I tried counseling and I hated every minute of it, being told how to deal with the thoughts that I had, yet they didn't even know exactly what they were. So I gave up on that and just let my feelings eat away at myself until one day I believed this would be the day it would all be done. Oh, where did I go? Oh, but something stopped me and told me to pray and just keep praying. So I did. I stopped counseling and started praying because I realized all I really needed was answers and not sympathy. To this day, I struggle with coming to terms with it. They told me brighter days would come, but they didn't. It's taken 2 years and I still get days where I think about those thoughts and sometimes get nightmares. Images of my friends hanging there helpless, and I don't wish it upon my worst enemy. But today I'm here as a living example that there is a brighter day, there is hope. There will be bad days, but the days to come are better, no matter how long it takes for them to come. It hasn't been roses and I'm still not entirely happy with where I'm at. But I know there's something coming for me. A month before we done production, I was willing to call it quits and tell the team I was no longer going to do it because I lost another friend and I fell back into a bad state. But there was a feeling that I needed to do it, to show my friends and let their legacy live on, and show people that there's hope and that no matter how lost or alone you are, God is always there. I say to those struggling right now that no matter how alone you feel, how broken you are, someone is always there with open arms and ears. The lows will always be low, but the highs will always be a little higher. Flowers cannot bloom without a little rain. Trust that you're here for a reason. Stick close to the ones you love and remind them that you love them every single day you can, because you never know when the last time will be. Hand on my heart, I would drop anything to stop another life from being taken from this vicious cycle. Let's all make a change and do what the government isn't doing and stop people who need it before they hurt themselves. That's it. Oh, by the way, these earrings, they're heartbeats, and they represent lives lost by suicide. What is it? Follow Alicia Carey Alicia Carey Collections on Instagram and buy a pair. $5 from every pair sold goes to, there's 3 different suicide prevention charities that they donate to. So yeah, go buy some. Okay. Suicide is a disease that is spread through teens, just hoping and praying that one day it does not reach me. Suicide is a topic no one talks about until our teens are all wiped out. We are the highest in the world for teen suicide rates, all lives that's lost no one can repay. There's a stigma around being weak if you talk, but maybe if you talk, that's one less life lost. Society makes out like suicide is the problem, but it's people on earth creating this problem. If we don't stop it, then how will it end? This vicious cycle will go on with no end. The lives of our young ones are being stripped from our hands. They're broken and hurt from words once said. They say they're okay, but maybe they're afraid. Maybe it's people like us who are to blame. Depression is killing our young people's lives, leaving them in a bad state of mind. But who are we to judge someone who can't control it? The thoughts in their heads are hard to ignore. They find themselves begging and knocking at God's door. Empty pill bottles and sharpener blades, you turn around and wish you could erase the image of their body hanging so lifeless, wishing that maybe that night you had have stayed. I hope one day that I don't end up the same, 6 foot underground with me and you to blame. Suicide is a disease that we need to stop. We need to make amends and not act like you're weak if you talk. The heartbreak and hole left in the heart cannot be mended. They take their lives thinking everything will be ended. Suicide needs to stop. If you're hurting someone and you know it, then why don't you stop? Because this vicious cycle will never ever stop. We need to put our foot down and let them know they're not alone. Because if not me, then who? If not now, then when? Suicide is a disease we are going to defeat. I refuse to let another life be lost. Some use guns, some use knives, but others use words.